Hey everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of my review for Batman Arkham City. Now quickly, just to recap, in the previous review we covered graphics, which were amazing. We covered a little bit of sound, pretty good. We'll cover more of that today about the score and the voice acting. We covered the general story, which I thought was very well put together. It pretty much, if you hadn't played the game and you just decided for some ungodly reason to skip part 1 and just wanted to see the end of it, real quick, Batman... Arkham City's basically been put together to hold out all the inmates. Everything's going bad. Batman flies in. If you want more details, visit part 1. Otherwise, you're just being lazy at this point. Now, to dive into the more important things about this game. Number 1, let's start going over sound and music. First off, Mark Hamill kills it once again as Joker. You have the original voice actors that you had in the previous Arkham Asylum back in for Arkham City, putting all of their little nitpicks, putting all their little sounds, putting all their voiceovers into this game, and it comes out very good. It's one of the best voiceovers I've heard since since Batman Arkham Asylum. But the voiceovers are very well solid. They bring the cast together. There's no one voice that stands out. I was actually surprised that Nolan North did the Penguin. Fun fact, Nolan North did the Penguin. He's the guy who plays Drake in Uncharted, just for people who don't know. So that was kind of surprising. I know people had a little bit of iffiness about Penguin, but I didn't mind him as much. All the other villains were very well voiced. There's no villain that just doesn't have a voice, but it's just kind of there. They all have their own different agendas, and it's really kind of interesting to see that. But that also becomes a problem in the game, that there's so many villains in this game that they don't get all flushed out. Like Deadshot, who's in one of them. He doesn't get flushed out as much as you would really like, or Mad Hatter. They're just kind of there. They're kind of more side missions. You take them out and you move on. You kind of almost wish they had more of a flushed out story than what they have, and you learn more about them like you do the other ones, like Two-Face and Penguin. And even a main character like Two-Face, he wasn't as flushed out in this as I thought he was going to be. He appeared briefly in the beginning of the game, and then at the end of the game. I get it, he got captured in the beginning, everyone's seen that, but still, they should have put him more into the game. It mainly is between Penguin and Joker and Mr. Freeze, but it's really disappointing to see that Two-Face wasn't utilized, considering the voice actor for that and the animations for him were incredible. Now, as far as the big bad guys, let's talk about boss fights. This was a huge problem in Arkham Asylum, because boss fights apparently considered throwing a batarang, hitting them, and then dodging out of the way while they smash into a brick wall. That was the way to kill every villain. And to dodge Croc, you just sidestep or throw a single batarang at him and he just falls into the water. That always annoys me, that kind of thing was handled in Arkham Asylum. Thankfully, the boss fights actually feel like boss fights at times. Especially, I'm going to spoiler alert it right now, so everyone, spoiler alert, all that fun stuff. Ra's al Ghul's boss fight is amazing. It's one of my favorite boss fights, if not my favorite boss fight in the game. It's very unique, it's very different. It's almost got the Scarecrow feeling from the previous game with the kind of like warped reality. I noticed how they took Scarecrow out of this. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, he's just an Easter egg in this one. But they took Scarecrow out of this, they put Ra's al Ghul's in this. And I liked this boss fight a lot. I like Solomon Grundy's boss fight. You did have the Titans in it, but I noticed you cannot take them down with just batarangs now. You actually have to wail on them, which I thought was really clever. They have a new Game Mode Plus, which is pretty much you get all your equipment and you come back into the game with all of it. So overall, it's a very... Certain aspects of the game could have been changed. The biggest thing is the villains. I do agree with a lot of people that even though the villains are amazing in this game, and I love the variety of villains, they still should have flushed them out more. I wish, as far as the competitive stuff go, I mean, it doesn't need to have a competitive like multiplayer mode, but I really think the challenge maps still feel like just they're tacked on and they're not fully developed through it. The Riddler trophies are amazing. I loved the Riddler's boss fights. His was so cool. His voice acting, his physical presence in the game was amazing. The voice acting all around is amazing. This is honestly one of the Batman games I have been waiting for. This is my favorite game of 2011. If you have not picked up Batman Arkham City, if you're a comic book fan, if you're an action fan, if you're just a gamer in general who loves action games, I really do recommend picking up Batman Arkham City. Batman Arkham City gets a 9.5 out of 10.
Do not